And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is a preview of Week 17 of the 2023 MLR season. Second to last week, the penultimate week of the season. Lots to still play for a majority of the teams. Some teams can easily be spoiler. There's a lot of exciting stuff here going on, guys. So let's get to it. Every team is playing. We have a full weekend of games. 1 game on Friday, 3 on Saturday, 2 to finish up on Sunday, including a very, very, very exciting game, which is easily going to be the game of the week. Possibly will also be my watch-along game. I'll be doing that again because it is a lot of fun. Let's start with Friday. So again, for those of you who are part of my Super Brew Pick'ems, make sure you get your picks in early because we are starting Friday this week. Friday, June 9th, 6 p.m. kickoff time. All kickoff times Pacific Standard Time. Old Glory DC heads over to SaberCats Stadium to take on the Houston SaberCats. This is a must-win game for Houston. If Houston is able to win this game, and if Utah loses their game, Houston secures themselves a playoff spot. So a lot to play for Houston. Old Glory DC, pretty much also in the running for the playoff spot, but they are going to have a big task ahead of them with the Houston SaberCats. Right now, the rivalry goes in favor of Old Glory. They are 2-1 over the Houston SaberCats. Last time they played was last year, where Houston defeated Old Glory 59-42. All the wins, interestingly enough, in this rivalry, the 2 for Old Glory and 1 for Houston, were as away teams. So technically, theoretically, this game favors Old Glory. But I'm going to pick Houston because Houston has a lot more to play for here in this game. So I think Houston walks away with the victory and possibly secures themselves that final playoff spot in the Western Conference. Moving on, Saturday, June 10th, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff. 2 teams that really don't have too much to play for. NOLA Gold going over to Choctaw Stadium to take on the Dallas Jackals. These 2 teams have only played once. Dallas barely losing to NOLA 26-32. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Even though both teams really don't have anything to play for, I feel Dallas has a chance to win this and possibly get their 3rd win in franchise history and in this season. I predicted them to only win 2. There's a possibility they can win a 3rd one here. So I will go and take this one. I'm so far behind in my Super Brew picks. Anyways, I could take a risk here, and I don't think it will hurt me too much. Moving on, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Your reigning, defending MLR champions, Rugby New York Ironworkers, go over to Silverback Stadium to take on Rugby ATL. This is the important game of the Eastern Conference this week's slate. It is literally a playoff eliminator game. If New York knocks out Rugby ATL, they are out of the playoff picture. Rugby ATL can stay in if they defeat Rugby New York. But if ATL loses, they are completely out, and New York will secure themselves that final Eastern Conference playoff position. So with that being said, this rivalry between these 2 teams favors New York 6-2. Last time they played was earlier this year, where New York defeated ATL 31-20. That was in Mount Vernon Stadium in New York. As much as home pitch advantage is a thing, New York is looking like the better team now. It looks like they have a lot of their injured players coming back. They look stronger. ATL, I know they are fighting for their playoffs live, so that does make this game interesting. But man, New York right now, I feel, has more momentum going into this game than ATL. So I feel Rugby New York will pull off the victory and secure themselves that 3rd and final playoff spot. Just let you know, guys, this game is on Fox Sports 2, so you gotta watch on Fox Sports 2 before it goes on to the Rugby Network. And as always, guys, you can watch every game this week, as well as all the last games over the season on the Rugby Network, a wonderful app, absolutely free. Watch it. All the MLR games are live and on demand on the Rugby Network app. All right, let's finish off the rest of the games of this exciting weekend. Last game for Saturday, June 10th, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff. Chicago Hounds go over to Zion Stadium to take on the Utah Warriors. A must-win game for Utah. If Utah does not win this game, and if Houston wins their game, Utah is out of the Western Conference playoff picture. Chicago, again, doesn't have a lot to play for, but they could be spoilers in this. They've only played once before earlier this season. Utah barely beat Chicago 14-10. That was in Chicago at SeatGeek Stadium. Now we're at Zion Stadium, which just starting to become like in Seattle. Utah, very hard to beat when they're in Zion Stadium. I feel, again, Utah has a lot more to play for. I feel Utah will secure the win here. Keeping them in the playoff picture because I feel Houston will still win their game, so it will come down to probably the last week to determine who ends up getting that last and final spot in the Western Conference. Moving on, Sunday, June 11th, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Pretty interesting game despite the two teams that are in it. San Diego Legion, arguably your best team in Major League Rugby, going over to Toronto to take on the Toronto Arrows at Veterans Memorial Stadium. York Lions Stadium. And this is an interesting game because if San Diego wins this game by at least a bonus point victory, they will secure themselves the Western Conference title as well as home field advantage throughout the Western Conference playoffs. So a lot for them to play for. Also, too, if they beat the Toronto Arrows, they will have the most wins in franchise history, and most wins in a season for MLR franchise. So a lot of things to kind of accomplish here with this win. Toronto really doesn't have much to play for. It does feel like that team has kind of given themselves up. So not much to really say. San Diego will probably walk away with the victory. Only thing that will be interesting to see is whether San Diego will have a lot of their starters play, if they'll take this game too seriously or not. Then, final game of the weekend, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, easily the game of the week. You have two of the best teams in the entire league. Best team in the Eastern Conference, the New England Free Jacks, going over to Starfire Stadium to take on the Seattle Seawolves, one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Seattle still has something to fight for. They have secured themselves a playoff spot, but if San Diego somehow doesn't win their game against Toronto, Seattle does have a chance to steal that Western Conference title. So definitely something that they want to play for in this game. New England will be interesting to see what they do, considering, again, they secured the Eastern Conference. They've secured everything for their side. Will they rest a lot of their starters in order to make sure that everybody is healthy when they start to take the playoffs run? Will Seattle still try really hard if they already know San Diego has won their game, which is earlier in the day, with the bonus point, because Seattle has secured themselves a playoff spot, has secured themselves the number 2 spot, at least. Do they risk it to try to win this number 1 spot if San Diego has already secured that? So, even though this will probably be the game of the week, it will be interesting to see what rosters are on for both of these teams. For the pick'em itself, interestingly enough, New England has defeated Seattle 2 out of 3 times. Both teams are also going on win streaks. Seattle is on a 6-game win streak. New England is on an 8-game win streak. So it'll be interesting to see who ends up continuing their win streak. And in my opinion, I really feel, again, is at Starfire Stadium, very hard to beat Seattle at Starfire Stadium. I think Seattle will secure that victory. Again, I am tentatively putting this as my watch-along game, so if you want to, it's a lot of fun. You can enjoy watching a MLR game with me. I will not be showing the game, but I'll be streaming on my YouTube channel my commentary on it. It's a lot of fun when we do a watch-alongs. We have people coming in that ask questions, just talk about rugby. It is a lot of fun. If you're new to the rugby game, kind of want to learn some stuff, I do a great job, I feel, of explaining rules, explaining the action. If you have any questions, feel free to always ask during it. Also, too, if you're already a diehard rugby fan, it's a lot of fun to just talk about rugby and enjoy a great game like what this game's going to be. So that is the slate. Again, a lot of things that could be decided this week. Finals, playoff spots. So it'll be interesting to see what teams roster what players as we go into the final push for the playoffs. Will teams rest their starters? Will teams really go all out? Be exciting to watch. So, as always, thank you very much for watching my YouTube video. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the pitch.